everybody? Welcome to this brand new episode of Game Time, happening at a very special time, 6 p.m. PT live here on the West Coast on a Tuesday night. We're excited to be diving into talking about 2024 Wildcard Weekend in the NFL playoffs. I am the Outlaw John Roca, joined as always by a man who must be licking a lot of wounds on his body after such a debacle. Cowboys fan wins today, Marshall. Brother, how are you doing? Are you okay?
Roca, do you smell that?
What's that? What am I supposed to be smelling?
Them shitty ass Cowboys. They smell awful.
Oh no, you don't get to go in. No. No, you own this shit.
Look, man, they're not the only thing that stunk up the joint this weekend, but they are certainly the worst part of it.
They added to it.
That was like, yeah, the Eagles were bad, but they've been bad for weeks.
Sure.
This was supposed to be the time, and you let Jordan Love, who has been playing very well.
Don't discount it. Yes, over the last few weeks.
He's been playing very well, but you know who hasn't been? Yeah. You know who hasn't been? That Packers defense. So that's embarrassing. Let's talk about it, bro. We got
so much to get into here. We're definitely going to talk about that Cowboys-Packers game to lead off this show. We're going to get into that Lions thriller against the Rams that was a lot closer than I had thought it was going to be. The Chiefs demolishing the Dolphins here, the Texans killing the Browns, the Bills handling the Steelers for sure, and the Bucs taking care of business, knocking out the defending NFC champions, their NFC representatives to the Super Bowl last year, and the Eagles. And we're also going to get into our predictions for what we think is going to happen this weekend, and get into what we think is going to happen to the personnel involved with some of these teams that went out in the playoffs here in the next few days or next few weeks as we look towards moving forward here in the season. But yeah, as Winston said, we got to start with the Cowboys and the Packers. This was just such a shocking thing to witness as Jordan Love. He only threw for 272 yards, but it felt like so much more. Threw for 3 touchdowns here. He was one pass away from a perfect quarterback passer rating in the playoffs. I think only Peyton Manning and somebody back in the 60s, maybe Fran Tarkenton, had ever had that in the playoffs. Aaron Jones ran for 118 yards and 3 touchdowns. He was a monster, had his own cheering section there in Dallas Stadium there. Romeo Doubs had 6 catches for 151 yards for a touchdown. Luke Musgrave got a touchdown. Dontavian Wicks got a touchdown here. The Cowboys made it close. Looking at the score there in garbage time in the fourth quarter, 48-32. But in the end, man, they were down at some point in the fourth quarter by 24, 27 points. Winston, this was an absolute shellacking. CeeDee Lamb did get 110 yards receiving, but they were way off with each other through a majority of the game. Gallup had 103 yards. Dak threw for 403 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a costly pick 6 there. And so what do you take away from this game? They were outcoached in almost every facet of the game. Dan Quinn's defense looked completely unprepared. Mike McCarthy's offensive play calling looked terrible. And Dak Prescott at the end in the post-game press conference said, I simply sucked. So what are your thoughts here as a Cowboys fan watching them blow up here at the end against these Packers? Okay.
So,
yeah.
For those of you that are fans of my breakfast AM news thing that I do, there at the end of this most recent episode, which fuck you TikTok, because I had to bring one down for a brilliant piece of comedy. I thought applying the ether beat to Stephen A. Smith and Cat Williams eviscerating people, but they said, "Oh, it's copyright. Fuck you." So at the end of that said video, and you can still see it on Instagram.
That's shocking to me because I've seen TikTok videos that have full-on songs from people. So that's weird. Okay.
Yes, they fuck them.
Okay.
But I say all that to say, At the end of it, I made a little thing where I said, look, I filmed this in the middle of the disaster that is this Cowboys game. So originally it said, I have no idea how this ends.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go get drunk. Happy NFL playoffs, bitches. That was the original thing. I just I didn't know how it ended because I knew I was never going to hear the end of it.
Yeah.
Because at that point I had edited it and released it today. So I was like, fine.
Yeah.
When I tell you that is not a lie, I legitimately said, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not going to let an outside force determine my happiness in 2024. I'm done with that. And that is literally, there was a moment that's flipped in my brain. It doesn't mean I won't be excited about them again. It doesn't mean that I won't want to go to games and I wouldn't lose my shit if we won a Super Bowl at some point. Feels like that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
But I genuinely am just done. And I became that way before the half. That touchdown to at least keep us somewhere in there where it was a 3-score game. I was like, okay, all right, I can maybe do this. And then we drive down the field that it gets stuck at a field goal, and I'm like, fuck. And then they score again, and I'm like, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's literally it. You went all the way down there to go score a goddamn field goal, and then they just turned around and ran a touchdown down your throat.
Yeah,
and I think the biggest problem with it here, did Dak play like shit? Yes,
sure. Yes.
Dak was not the problem. The problem was the defense.
He was part of
it. But let's say this. Let's say this real quick. Okay. If someone steals, I don't know, your car.
Sure.
Right? They steal your car. Yeah, knock on wood. Knock on wood. Right? I'm going to venture a guess.
Yeah.
You're going to care less about the credit cards in the car because you can cancel them pretty quickly than you are about losing your fucking car.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
The car in this case is the fucking defense that let 27 points happen. I'll give you 20 points because that 7 was the pick 6 that Dak threw.
Yeah.
But let 20 points happen.
Yeah.
Before we even got close to sniffing points on the board.
Yeah.
And then we took it a step further and let them continue to just pound and pound and pound. Like, how do you supposedly Dan Quinn with this incredible defensive mind?
Yeah.
How do you go full Falcons 28-3 and make 0 adjustments? You realized that you were having this much issue stopping Aaron Jones with the run. And I actually appreciate Rex Ryan. I was listening to I didn't want to, but I was like, I need to hear the pundits and their bullshit.
Right.
And Rex Ryan said it. He said, don't come for Dak. Yes, he played like shit, and he deserves to have that dealt with, right?
Right.
But how were 0 adjustments made on defense? Like, on top of the fact that he pointed out that apparently 6 DBs were out there for 45% of the plays.
Yeah.
If you were getting the ball run down your throat, you need to put in bigger fucking personnel. What are you doing? Yeah. And then on top of that, if you're going to play zone, which you don't normally do, you normally play man.
Right.
You're going to play zone all this time. And then it's like 3rd and 9, and you're letting dudes just hang in the fucking middle for a first step. What is happening?
Yeah.
And so I am pissed off at Dak Prescott because, dude, this was your MVP like caliber season. You needed to step up and be the guy, and you threw 2 very costly interceptions.
Yeah.
But this defense that was supposed to be the thing that can get to the quarterback, that can stop these passes, and people were talking about the motion. Cowboys defense has problem with motion. The play action. The Cowboys defense had problem with play action. Literally all of the things that we have issues with, they didn't properly prepare to deal with.
Yeah.
And then we got embarrassed, like laughed out of our own state, to the fact that "Go Pack Go" was being chanted in AT&T Stadium the whole end of the second half from like the middle of the third quarter on.
Yeah.
That's around when I hit mute to start recording, is I heard "Go Pack Go." So like, I'm genuinely good at this point. If you had caught me mid-game.
Yeah.
But
oh no, I saw those TikTok videos of people who were caught mid-game. I went into an hour and a half long wormhole the other night watching all those videos of people. I don't know why people would agree to have themselves videotaped as fans of any team by their girlfriends or significant others to be put up on a public platform. I would never want anyone to record me during a sports game, as I'm a fucking madman on things that I love. So I can't believe so many people go, but there was laughter, but also I felt heartbreak for some of these guys. So because the level of dedication that some of these fans have to the Dallas Cowboys, it is truly insane to see. I saw a guy just walk all the way to the end of some farmhouse that they live in, watching the game, sat by himself, just staring out at the sky at the halftime. Like just could not be consoled in any way, shape, or form. And I've seen the memes, the guy jumping over the judges to knock down Dak Prescott, hilarious. Like it's just incredible how quick people come up with this. But let me tell you something. As a non-Cowboys fan watching this game, right? Of course, I'm a Commanders fan. I'm not actively rooting against this Cowboys team. I thought Dak was playing well. I thought I thought CeeDee Lamb deserves some love. So I was like excited to see this matchup. What's going to happen? Fully expected the Cowboys to beat these Packers handily. And
the seventh seed. The only thing that I finish your thought because
I was going to say, Jordan, this is a Jordan Love coming out party. It is incredible what he was able to do. Now, it could be breakdown in defense, whatever, but they made him look like fucking Joe Montana, Tom Brady. They made him look like Dan Marino. It was incredible to watch Jordan Love, the calmness in the pocket, the ability to get out of any situations, find guys wide open from 10, 15, 20 yards at tight end who was wide open on the right side of the field. It was incredible to watch him work. At some point, the game was 41-17 in the second half. That is an unsettling score at home. And it was just shocked. And it was a breakdown across all. You can maybe lay more blame on Mike McCarthy's feet, but it was Mike McCarthy. It was Dan Quinn. It was Dak Prescott. It was CeeDee Lamb. It was everybody.
That's the thing. It wasn't even.
And it was Micah Parsons. They didn't come to play, Winston. They thought they were going to handle these Packers. They were focusing on whoever the fuck they were going to play next. They were thinking about the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl.
They were already moving on.
Not focusing on the game, and they got beat. And they couldn't catch up by the time they went down 27.
Let me open up real quick. I need to open up these previous games by the Packers, man.
Sure.
Because again, Jordan Love did his thing, but like just to go out here, here's some of the you had Tom. What's his name? Tommy Dollars, Tommy Dimes, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yes,
his ass.
Yeah,
came in here and handled this Packers defense.
Yes.
Baker Mayfield, who is out here in these streets, like I actually would not be opposed to Baker Mayfield making the motherfucking Super Bowl at this point.
Sure.
Just so the Browns and their nonsense with giving a bajillion dollars to Mr. Happy Ending and thinking that Joe Flacco was going to be their solution to get them through the playoffs.
Yep.
Just for Baker Mayfield to go, fuck you. I'm the one. Yep. Y'all trash. There's a part of me that wants to see that. I also want to see the Lions because there's a part of me I gave Jared Goff a lot of shit.
Yeah.
You have to give somebody credit where someone has fully written you up. That's Jared Goff's story right now, especially to a team like the Lions, is the type of shit that you make the Longest Yard type movie out of.
Sure.
This is where it's like, he went to a Super Bowl and shit the bed and got sent to the worst team in the league. And like all of a sudden, here comes this coach that's got like a gruff exterior, like, we're gonna fucking do the damn thing. And then after 32 years, they win their first playoff game.
Yeah.
I don't know what story would be more enthralling because fuck the Niners. Like, okay, you're a bunch of you're stacked as fuck. You got one of the premier coaches in the league.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about Brock Purdy. Like, good for him. Like, whatever. There is a true, just like humanitarian story if the Lions or the Buccaneers make it to the Super Bowl.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
100%. Sure.
I say all that to say, bro.
Okay.
The Packers defense has been fucking awful. And if you have been playing this kind, if you've been playing this kind of ball, the way that Dak Prescott is, I need you to step up. And if Jordan Love, for as good of a season as he's had, and he's had a very good season, was gettable. And yet this defense could not fucking step up, bro. And that shit is just insane. Yeah. It is insane. And so I hope that if all the Cowboys now are off to Cancun, I hope all y'all motherfuckers get bed bugs. You're millionaires. You'll deal with it. Fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Micah Parsons has had that podcast all season talked all that shit, said, oh, 49ers laughing at us. We can't wait to see them. And this is something that was called out on the show with Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin was like, well, in 2 games we got, and it was Keyshawn who had to be like, dude, 1 game at a time. Even you, as a guy who's not even playing anymore, you're a Cowboys fan, former great Cowboys great, and you're even thinking 2 games ahead. That's the problem. And he nailed, and they played that footage after the loss on Monday morning. And it's like, yeah, that is the problem. The Cowboys fans were already thinking Super Bowl. They thought they had to just kind of play the Packers to get them out of the way because they knew where they were going, and they didn't anticipate the Packers coming in. For all the debacle of the Cowboys, you have got to also give the Packers credit for constructing a fantastic game plan that they carried out to the T, to the letter, that completely worked here. Joe Barry's defense, Joe Barry is not a good defensive play caller. He knew exactly how to play Dak with those cover 2, cover 3s, and he smoked Dak. He unsettled Dak. I don't know if Dak and CeeDee Lamb had a fight before the game. It was weird, Winston. There was some weird shit going on between them that you just didn't understand. I mean, McCarthy had to come down and talk to CeeDee Lamb in the first quarter to tell him, we're going to figure it out. We're going to put it together. Some shit happened behind the scenes that no one is talking about that fucked this team up before the game. Not to take anything away from Packers, but it seemed like they weren't ready for this game. Even McCarthy said it afterwards. We weren't ready to play this game. And there's no reason you shouldn't have this team ready to play this game and be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. You cannot have this team not be ready for this game and still keep your job. That makes no fucking sense. This is an incredibly talented Cowboys team. How the fuck did you blow it against the youngest team in the playoffs in the Packers, who now go to San Francisco, and who knows what the fuck is going to happen in San Francisco? We're going to talk about that later. Let's table the talk on McCarthy and everything.
Let's hold it
until later, but we will talk about it later on in the show. Either way, Cowboys are out, Packers move on. What a shock. Let's move on to another game.
You forgot one other thing.
Go ahead.
This is the only road team to fucking win.
Yes, true.
Meaning this is the only wild card seed, period, to win, on top of the fact. It is we've only had the 7th seed thing for a few years now. It is the first 7th seed, meaning taking out a 2 seed, which is in effect the highest seeding a 7th seed will essentially play in that first one, because the number 1 seed gets a.
This is 16 seed taken out of 1 seed into the NCAA tournament. This is absolutely Virginia losing. So I can't remember who they lost, Coastal Carolina or something. They lost to them that 1 year a few years ago. So this is absolutely that. This is absolutely that.
Jimmy Johnson tried to give a fucking motivational speech at halftime during the broadcast, bro. Like, fuck, man.
I was like, oh man. They ain't listening.
It's too late. Well, because they can't, because they don't have time to listen to TV. They're trying to talk to the coaches who aren't motivating them. I think maybe if they had heard Jimmy, then maybe they would have got their shit together.
Yeah. So just a shocking thing to watch, and also a little joyful as a Commanders fan. All right, let's move on to the second game here, and that is the Patrick Mahomes Chiefs. Certainly, I was wrong. Full on gonna admit it. But Patrick Mahomes led these Chiefs to a 26-7 victory over the Dolphins, who also looked like they did not want to be there at all in the stadium. Tua got exposed yet again against a team with a winning record here. Patrick Mahomes had his helmet shattered in the effort, but he threw for 262 yards and a touchdown here. Pacheco did a nice job on the ground, 89 yards and a touchdown. Rashee Rice making a claim to be a number 1. He carried my fantasy team for the last few weeks here. 8 catches, 130 yards, and a touchdown. Kelsey at 7 for 71. Taylor Swift was having herself a ball, and they smashed these Dolphins. Tyreek Hill only at 62 yards, returning back to Kansas City. Got a touchdown on an underthrown pass from Tua. But, dude, they were never in this game. You can make claims about the referees helping them with a holding call or whatever. Fuck that. The Dolphins were never going to win this game. I could tell it from the first 10 minutes of the first quarter that, like, they weren't mentally ready to handle the snow, to handle the pressure, to handle the expectations, and to handle the terrain and what had happened there. And the Chiefs, Mahomes was throwing balls he hasn't thrown all season, and it was incredible to watch. So, you know what? It's a good victory. I eat my words thinking that the Dolphins were going to win. But I don't necessarily come out of this game thinking the Chiefs have found their mojo and they're the team to beat. The Dolphins laid down. That's not going to teach me much about these Chiefs. Next week is where we're going to find out about these Chiefs. But this is a good victory. Give them credit. What are your thoughts on both of these teams coming out of this game, brother, as the Chiefs take care of these Dolphins?
That the Dolphins were just that Spider-Man meme where Spider-Man's pointing at Spider-Man?
Yes.
That's the Dolphins of the Cowboys. It was just, hey, oh shit, you have the best receiver in the league, or essentially the best receiver in the league. Oh shit, you have a quarterback that's like in the MVP conversation, but he doesn't really know if he wants to be good or fucking not. Yeah. And there's money on the line and shit. Oh shit, you technically have like a decent running back, even though ours wasn't really doing a lot of shit this year. Oh shit, like you got some like a huge name on defense, like a Micah Parsons or a Jalen. What the fuck is his name? Oh my God,
Ramsey.
Thank you, yeah. Ramsey. Like literally, like just pointing at each other. And so I'm not surprised. Now we'll talk about the cold later. Because there's
a massive factor in the game, man.
It is a massive factor here. Yeah. But if we had been playing in Miami, I mean, in Miami weather, I won't say the home game because home stuff does shift things. But if you've been playing in Miami weather, I still think the Dolphins would have lost. I remember I was about to say I'm going to give the edge out to the Dolphins right now because of I just trust their offense a little bit more, even though they have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid over here, just seeing how this is going. But then when I was like, it's going to be what degrees? I said, oh, no. That seems like that's a wash right now because all you need is examples. Watch the Dolphins play in New England. Watch the Dolphins play in Buffalo. Anytime it happens to be in these winter months, they shit the bed. Yeah. So I was like, it's gonna be how cold? Oh no. And here we are. So it's one of those things. Don't bring up the Cowboys home field. It's not what I'm not specifically talking about that. I'm talking about the minute the cold weather got involved, that's a wrap. That's literally that was a wrap from the start, and especially from the standpoint of when you had someone like Tyreek Hill being like, "I didn't wear sleeves because I didn't want to look soft," and then you also got him being mic'd up, being like, "Hey, yo, bring that jacket over here, dog." Oh my God. But I'm sorry. Like, and on top of the fact that Taylor got a custom jacket made from another player's wife,
team player's wife. That is shocking to me.
No, but that's dope. But you got to remember, these wives literally have that kind of club where they're all friends with each other because there's a specific mindset of being the wife of a professional athlete. So specifically within their sport, these wives tend to all hang or whatever. And so for all of them who have already lived some sort of a famous life, I'm sure they're like, oh my God, Taylor Swift. I bet you more or less.
Yeah.
Like at least every white wife in the NFL loves some T Swift. There's probably some black ones too, but you know what I'm saying? Like I guarantee you the minute she said Taylor was like, oh, I see you make custom stuff for people. Would you be? She was like, hell yeah, girl, I'll do that shit. Because it probably also boosted her business sales, which good for her,
bro.
Because it was an expertly done jacket. That shit looked amazing.
It was beautiful. She picked up 10 or 100,000 new followers on her Instagram.
That's amazing.
If she turns this into a business, that woman is going to be a billionaire overnight, man. It was such a well-designed jacket. It had a real flavor and taste to it that made sense. It wasn't just an easily done jacket. It had style. It had flair. It was saying something, and the design of it all was just incredible, no doubt. And look, Taylor dancing with everybody. I know that pissed off some NFL bros, but to me, she's more than earned it. She's having fun. It isn't like she's the one that told him to dance. That's what they do in Kansas City during certain sections of the game.
They decided to swag surf. Yeah. It is what it is.
She was participating.
And this isn't even on Taylor. This is just on Kansas City because clearly, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Sean Brennan, but y'all one of the whitest cities, bro, because that was some of the worst swag surfing I've ever seen. And it's not because it was Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes. It's that white people clearly, I can't even hear the music and I could see y'all aren't on beat. Because when they would show Taylor, they were showing everyone else around, and one person would be going right here and the other person would be and I was just like, man, don't ruin swag surfing, come on. But I will say this, man, there's a couple of things to keep in mind.
Go ahead.
The first thing is we joke about the Taylor Swift curse, but the real curse that has been over the Chiefs is that y'all receivers don't want to catch balls. And let's not
even
pretend
Travis was dropping balls for.
And that's the other thing I was going to say.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Travis necessarily is distracted by Taylor.
Yeah.
But Travis is distracted.
Yeah.
I would make the argument that it's not Taylor that's doing it. It's his podcast, which is like blown up like crazy. It was already big, but it's gotten even bigger.
He's distracted.
The fact that like, and I respect it. He flew out to potentially his brother's last game. Him and his like that. That was also
that was awesome.
That's totally fine.
Right.
But that being said, you can't be dropping passes like that.
Yeah.
And especially when you are the guy.
Yeah.
Like Patrick can't throw it to himself. So you have to catch those because now that you're going to play the Bills, who essentially have been in playoff mode for 6 games straight.
Yeah.
You have to be catching that shit because otherwise it's just Rashee Rice out there.
Yeah.
Because nothing has changed. Most of those receivers were still not doing what they needed to do. Patrick was 23 for 41 out here.
Yep.
So he's barely crossing 50%.
Yep.
That's still a problem. So good win, but like A, you had the weather on your side.
Yes.
B, thank God Rashee has really turned to that guy because you need that guy to be able to get through to this.
Yeah.
And C, thank God for your defense. Like all 3 of those together are great, but you still have a receiver problem. And I'm real curious what happens when the Buffalo defense, which loves to hit hard, and they're going to be coming at you because
Stop jumping ahead. Stop jumping ahead. Focus on the current game. We will be talking about that in a little bit. Slow down.
I get excited.
I know you do. I appreciate it.
I get excited. I get so ready.
But we should say this to Sean. The Dolphins were missing 5 of their starters on defense.
I don't care about that.
3 of their starting pass rushers were out for the game. So again, and Tua is terrible in adverse conditions. There's all kinds of statistics that show you. So this was tailor-made for a Chiefs victory. You got the job done. Certainly Patrick showed a lot of moxie, taking that hit. The shattering, which we'll talk a little bit later about the helmet, little referee preference yet again in Kansas City. But overall, got the job done. Can't complain. You took care of Victor, and we'll find out next week, which we're going to talk about a little bit, what we think is going to happen in that game. Yeah, go ahead.
So the last thing about this, because this is really kind of the part where Taylor would be talked about, I thought that Tony Dungy saying that he fears
he's an
Taylor
idiot.
Swift is part of the why NFL fans are disenchanted. No. There was a great tweet that someone said in response to it said, bad refereeing, streaming exclusive games behind paywalls,
right?
Deshaun Watson getting $250 million, integration of the league with gambling, the cost of being a fan rising. But nope, it's a woman's fault whose only crime is cheering on her boyfriend. Give me a fucking break. And that is the reason why people, like, don't get me wrong, people have been annoyed with constantly showing Taylor. And to that point, I agree, leave her alone.
Yeah.
You want to show her, you want to do like you do with other games where like Bradley Cooper's here, who's a diehard Eagles fan. Hey, Bradley, and then you might show him after a nail biting kick.
Yeah.
But not every time Travis catches the ball or the tush push happens, you didn't automatically jump to Bradley, which is what was happening. And that's not on Taylor, that's on the NFL. Right. So if the NFL really feels that Taylor is a distraction and is turning fans off, stop showing her so much and let her live her fucking life.
That's the thing at the end of the day. She isn't telling them to show her on screen 5 to 10 times a game, showing her dancing with the fans. That's all the NFL and the cameramen who are being assigned by the NFL and by these networks to focus on Taylor, to put her on camera. Now, could Taylor say, stop showing me on camera? Sure, but she's not going to do that. It's not her arena. So she's there to cheer on the man that she loves. That's what's important. And yes, Tony Dungy, who is a hardcore person in his beliefs of he falls on a certain spectrum here. He's an idiot for saying what he said. Brett Favre, who should never open his fucking mouth unless he's putting his cock in it, should not say a goddamn thing about anybody, for God's sakes, considering the shit he's pulled, especially about a woman. Shut the fuck up, Brett Favre.
Bro.
Don't pay that money back. And the other thing is, not as much as I have not been the biggest fan of Taylor being a part of this whole mix. And I think it's both people are benefiting, the NFL and Taylor, from the situation. But in my opinion, she's got a right to be there. If they show her, that's not her fault. So I got no issues with her being there. Eminem was all over the Detroit coverage. And I get it. Eminem rapped for Matt Stafford. Eminem's a hardcore Lions fan. We've known that for a while. It's a different situation, but still, they showed him all the time during the game. So,
there are two things with that too, and we'll kind of wrap this story up. But like just to kind of tie all that together, because we are moving into Jared Goff and the Lions now too.
Yeah.
One, let's also remember before we continue to jump down Taylor's throat here.
Yeah, no.
This was a problem. Are you okay?
No, I'm saying, Sean. I just read Sean Soroka changing his tune on Taylor. Something tells me that era's check clear.
Motherfucker, I wish there was an errors check. There was an errors check. Game time would be on 5 motherfucking days a week. Don't please put me on staff, Taylor. I fucking what you need, girl? You need me to tell these haters to shut the fuck up? I'll be your anger translator like Keegan was for Obama and Key and Peele.
Yes, exactly.
I say all that to say, if you remember, and I think people who have short-term fucking memories, the only reason why I think this got amplified is because it is Taylor Swift.
Yes, of course.
This was a problem with the Chiefs with just Brittany and Jackson. There was this endless thing of showing Brittany and Jackson over and over and over and over. And then when that would happen, then you would see Jackson all of a sudden doing TikTok dances on one of your greats, if you remember.
Yes, Sean Taylor's number.
Now they put him down on the field, but like at the same time, like that distraction, Brittany throwing water bottles on people with Jackson, you know what I'm saying? So there was already the distraction of the two of them being front and center in the spotlight. People have short-term memories because now all of a sudden you have an actual superstar celebrity being talked about with the situation. So it's been a Chiefs issue for a minute. Yeah. And what's so funny is that that's always then like, oh, poor Patrick. Now he has to deal with his fucking brother and his wife. That's why he's playing so bad. Like, this is just what happens. There's just distractions that comes around the Chiefs, period.
Yeah, at some point, if you're the common denominator in all these distractions, you got to start looking at yourself. So I don't know, just throwing that out there. Anyway, we'll talk about the predictions for this weekend's game a little bit later on in the show. We're at the 30-minute mark. Let's take a break here, Winston. We'll jump into the next slate of games here right after this. Okay, we've got some Streamlabs that have come through. We'll definitely get to them here real quick. JC says, I know he's – oh, no, sorry. Sean Brennan says, love you guys. Look forward to this every week. With the rumors of Dallas and Philly possibly firing their head coaches as well. What? Okay, so you're asking questions about the we're going to get to that in a little bit, Sean. So I'll read your Streamlab when we get to that section. Let's see. Fred Tasek says, the Cowboys' problem all season has been when a team punches them in the mouth with the run game, we fold. Happened with Arizona, San Francisco, Buffalo, now Green Bay. It's easy for the quarterback when it's a 2nd and 2 instead of a 2nd and 8. If they can stop you, you better stop them. Good point, Fred, for sure. He also says 28 years of no playoffs or early exits has hardened me as a Cowboys fan. So losing this way is bad, but what was worse was when the Cowboys were a number 1 seed and losing after spending the week on vacation. Only one coach can get this ship right, and that is not Belichick. Get a way to get Mike Tomlin 1 year left on his contract as well. And we do remember Mike Tomlin walked out of his post-game press conference when he was asked about his contract. So what are your thoughts on Fred's opinions here real quick, brother?
What was the thing he said one more time? I'm sorry. I was trying to pull something up.
No worries. He just said that for him, the worst loss in the playoffs was not the one that just happened with the Packers. It was when the Cowboys were a number 1 seed and they lost after spending a week on vacation instead of focusing on getting ready for the game. And that he thinks the only coach that can right the ship in Dallas is not Bill Belichick. It is Mike Tomlin, who has a year left on his contract. So essentially advocating buying him out.
No, for sure. I think that the worst one for me is probably they both came at the hands of the Packers. It was either the Dez Bryant catch, which was clearly a fucking catch. And that is fucking infuriating because that was also a very stacked team that the Packers had no business moving forward after that. And then the other one also having been the Packers, though last year was pretty rough. It was either last year or 2 years before with the time management bullshit of not hitting the ball to the fucking ref. That shit drove me crazy.
Yes.
Dak's first playoff game and that ridiculous Crosby doink at the last second. Dak played his ass off. He played his ass off. And then just a lucky ass Crosby doink to get them to go past. Because that's the other thing with the Packers that pisses me off. You go, how many goddamn NFC championships and your ass can't fucking do shit about it?
It's true.
Not a goddamn thing. Like I just
2 Super Bowl wins total.
It's
in the modern
crazy.
Era, era.
Aaron Rodgers has one. Yeah. He went to how many NFC championship games to go to the Super Bowl? One time.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right. Good point. We skipped over this. We should talk about this. Andy Reid's mustache. I mean, Fro, look at that thing. Look at that. I have never had a mustache like that in my life. Freezing icicles off of the mustache. I shudder to think if that's snot or water, but incredible, Winston, to see him being a meme yet again after another cold playoff game in Kansas City.
You want to know what he looks like right there?
What does he look like?
Hold on, I'm going to give you a screen share.
Oh, no. Okay, hold on. Are you going to pull it up? Stash.
Oh, yeah. No, I got it. Hold on.
Yeah, Sean was there as well. Sean was at the game freezing his nuts off. Sean, next time take a picture, man. Would love to put it on the channel for sure.
This was Andy's ass out there, bro. It was Andy's ass. You see how chapped his lips and shit are right there? That's him on the right. That's Andy with the you get the frozen little mustache on Arnold and shit.
Did you see Tyreek Hill complaining about how, he goes, I know we lost, but I can't believe y'all let me walk out here with ashy lips, and they had a picture of him with the lip. I
appreciate the fact that he could have a good sense of humor, because like part of it too is, if you remember, he didn't want to leave. He left because he felt like a third wheel.
He didn't want to leave.
Yeah. If I remember, did he get traded?
Yes, he did eventually get traded. Yeah.
So in 2 days.
This is Sean. There's Sean. There he is, freezing at the Kansas City game. I'm assuming that's Sean's significant other. So
I thought Sean was black, the way he be talking at you sometimes. I don't know why I thought that.
Oh man, look at that, Sean. Respect, brother. Respect for freezing your nuts off there, man, and respect your significant other who also
you see Jeremy Miller, Andy Reid talking about. All right, everyone, chill.
We go to win the game. All right, let's move on to the Lions and the Rams. This was a hell of a game, man. So much fun watching this game. Jared Goff getting some much-needed revenge on on McVay and the Rams for essentially ushering him out of town, saying that he was not necessary for them to win a Super Bowl. And certainly McVay was right, because Stafford came in and they did win a Super Bowl here. But Jared Goff led these Lions to a victory, playoff victory here, and the first time they hosted first-time playoff victory in decades, first time they hosted one in 30-something years, 24-23. Look, Matt Stafford shook off what would have been a concussion to keep fighting for this team. Threw for 367 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, it looked rough. Puka Nacua had 9 catches for 181 yards and a touchdown. But the Lions, Goff had 277 yards and a touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 110 yards. They got it done on the ground. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery both getting touchdowns. But that defense played well when they needed to play well. Those late stops for field goals were the difference here in this game. And congratulations to those Lions. And they're going to play Tampa Bay at home, getting another home playoff game. And Jared Goff getting that victory for the Lions, just a fantastic story.
Bro.
Stafford was not happy in the post-game press conference, but in the end, Goff got it done. Yeah, your thoughts?
Here's the thing. Matt Stafford, both of these dudes were number 1 overall draft picks.
Yes.
Matt Stafford had been like the cream of the crop that just had been on a dumpster fire of an organization. No offense to the Lions, but that's what it was.
Yeah.
And like the minute Calvin Johnson left, you know what I'm saying? Like they just that was kind of a wrap, where he still was playing well, but like it just, and so it was this thing where Detroit straight up was just like, hey man, you've done so right by us. Let's do you a solid, and we'll send you to a competing, like a team that's like in the mix, right?
Yeah.
The inverse of that was LA using Jared Goff to get to the Super Bowl here and going, nah, bro, you ain't it. And I was one of the ones that was like, Jared Goff ain't it.
Yeah, I agree. So was I.
There is old Game Time hell. There might even be Collider Sports Talk, like fucking footage of me being like, Jared Goff is not the one.
Yeah.
And so imagine, like I was saying, man, that is the kind of story that a sports like kind of comedy, inspirational, the longest yard type situation. You have hit the bottom of the barrel. You went to the Super Bowl. You couldn't get it done. You got embarrassed by Tom Brady. You could only score 3 fucking points.
Yeah.
Your team says fuck you and ships you off to the one of the worst teams in the league who hasn't won a playoff game in God knows how long.
Yeah.
Coaches in and out, no other star player to be talked about. I remember Goff's wife being so excited. She was at some shoot because she's a model.
Yep.
And she goes, oh, we won a game. And like how big of a deal that was. But that's part of the narrative of that movie of being like, he is doing what he can to turn it around. And then you get Dan Campbell to come in there and be like, he's the coach's guy. He's the player's coach. And he's going to be like, I'm going to do the push-ups with you. They get on Hard Knocks. Like I literally see beat for beat how this movie plays out. Yeah. And you hope that it ultimately culminates in them winning a chip. That would be fucking crazy. But if it just ends right here, this is such a beautiful story that he got to go get revenge against the team that counted him out. Yeah. Like you got to see this situation where what feels like these bad news bears are actually all of a sudden like a real threat type situation. It's so beautiful to watch. It is an incredible story to see. I think the only thing about this game that I didn't like, and I actually was almost not rooting for Detroit in this game because of this, them booing Stafford when he came out. Yeah, that was fucking great. Even if you want to win the game, you could have given him a quick thank you, Matt, or some shit like that, and then be done with it. And then if you want to boo when he scores touchdowns, that's fine. But the first time he runs it on the field, his first time back, you boo him. Yeah, what the fuck? That was just classless to me. I don't like that because Stafford gave everything for you guys. He holds all of your fucking records and he didn't leave on his own accord. You traded him the fuck away because you wanted better for him. That was just gross. Yeah.
It was tough. It was weird because I mean Stafford had done a pregame press conference or pregame sit down with I think it was NBC, whoever was carrying the game, and talked about how much he loved Detroit, his time in Detroit, the people, the fans. They still do charity work, him and his wife there in Detroit with the organizations that they work with. So, but he was certainly hurt by how they booed him, how they responded to him, how they chanted Jared Goff's name. And in the post-game press conference, one of the reporters asked him, are you happy for Detroit? He's like, I'm happy for the players, the Detroit players, because those are some of the players he played with. I'm happy though for those guys. But he did not say he was happy for the city of Detroit because he was hurt. And I saw the Detroit Free Press write a column bashing him for that. And it's like, you didn't see all the other stuff he'd done. And you clearly don't know all the other stuff he's done. I get it. Look, Detroit is just a shade below Philadelphia in terms of a hard-ass city with hard-ass fans, okay? They are ruthless. They are as ruthless as Philly, if not more so. So I'm not surprised by the reaction. I just felt bad for Stafford because you're right. 12 seasons of trying to make that team a winner. And this is how you respond to him when he comes back. It just seemed like really ungrateful overall. They didn't even boo Tyreek the way they booed Stafford there in Detroit.
It would be one thing if he was a diva and he was forcing his way out. Right. It'd be another situation if you want to boo him at the end of the game if the Rams beat the shit out of you. Those are all reasons to potentially boo this dude. And yes, I get it's the playoffs, but you don't even need to fucking do that. Yeah. You're just going to be cheering for your team. It wasn't like a few boos. It was raining them. It was egregious. Yeah. And bro, the fact that this man since he was there, bro, he had what? A 5,000 yard season. Yeah. He had a 4,900. He was like 30 something yards off of another 5,000 yard season. Yeah. Multiple 4,500 yards. It really rubbed me the wrong way. And there was a brief moment where I was like, I hope y'all lose just for that, because Everyone is pulling for you for being the underdog here. The Rams already got their chip. Stafford got his chip. Even the funny thing that Eminem did, where he would like, there was a promo he did where he was like, "Hey Matt, bro, we were all cheering for you. We got the ring. We were happy for you, man. Can we just have this one, please?"
Is it? I rapped for you.
I rapped for you.
I thought that was great. But look, here's the deal, man. The Lions, they took care of business in the early stages of the game, but they only scored 3 points in that entire second half. And you look at the stats here for next gen stats, Goff went 1 of 6 for 11 yards when he was pressured. So I think if the Rams had a little more time, they'd have won this game. They just couldn't get the job done on those last 2 drives to get into a position to kick a field goal or to get a touchdown to win the game. But Stafford fought his ass off. As much as I'm happy for the city of Detroit, them getting the victory, happy for Goff and all of that, you got to tip your hat to Stafford, give him respect. And I thought he was on his way out, but the way he played this game, the way Puka looked, I would absolutely hope he comes back next year. And McVay already said he's coming back next year. This may revitalize these Rams. And don't be surprised. Mark my words, write this down. If we don't get a rematch of these 2 teams next year in the playoffs and the Rams demolish these Lions, don't discount it. Because I got a feeling all that booing, all that shit, and how close they came, they're going to be extra motivated next year if they play them in the playoffs. And
So here's the thing. I'm trying to think. What do we do with the schedules have come out? So let's see. Rams 2024 schedule if they're playing, because I guarantee you if they are,
I'd be in LA.
Matt has already written that motherfucking day. Bro, they're gonna be in Detroit. Matt is going to fuck them up. I don't care how good the Lions are next year. Matt is going to come fuck them up because he definitely had. Look, man, that was a bad concussion protocol. I watched my dude's head go, dude, doink, and he hit one of these for a split second, and I was like, which is the same thing that happened to Tua. I was like, ooh, Matt's gonna fuck. Or in that case, he was fucked. But I genuinely think Matt Stafford is going to get sweet, sweet revenge next year during the regular season.
Absolutely. Mercer, I guess he's a Detroit fan. He says we're soft.
I'm soft for what reason? I'm soft for what reason? That one of your greats came back and you decided to boo him? I'm just saying, get some class, show some class with your ass. That's all I'm saying. I don't give a fuck. I'm ruthless. Do you know how much I was laughing at the motherfucking Eagles, but then turned around and was like, oh, poor Jason Kelce. But then I turned around and was like, ha, bitches. But oh, poor Jason Kelce. 2 things can be true at once. You could be ruthless and also have class. Even thugs, even fucking gang members have rules. You don't be shooting up people at church or grandmamas and shit. What the fuck are we talking about here?
I don't know anything about that. All right, moving on. Speaking of the Eagles, let's move on to that game here. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking care of business, beating these Philadelphia Eagles 32-9. And as big as that score was, it still doesn't accurately portray how much of a whooping this was. Baker Mayfield threw for 337 yards. He could have had a lot more. There were some drops in this game that were shocking to see, and a couple of overthrows that Baker had. He could have put at least another 100 yards up on his stats. Threw for 3 touchdowns as well. No interceptions. He was sacked 4 times for 30 yards, but came out of this thing with a 119.8 rating. Rashad White had 72 yards on the ground, slowly coming on here as a runner. Cade Otton led all receivers with 89 yards, but David Moore and Trey Palmer and Chris Godwin all got touchdowns for these Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jalen Hurts, only 250 yards, 1 touchdown. DeAndre Swift, 34 yards total. Sorry about that. And then Devontae Smith, he's the only one who balled out the whole game. 8 catches, 148 yards, but no one else really came to play. Julio Jones was knocked out during the game. And A.J. Brown couldn't even go after a while. So, as much as the Eagles were coming in with hopefully being able to take care of business with the pedigree from last year and this season, they got clearly exposed here. This had been coming, and the Buccaneers did what a lot of people predicted they were going to do, which is destroy these Eagles and send them out of the playoffs. A lot of questions afterwards. One of the Eagles fans threw a popcorn bucket at Nick Sirianni, the coach of the Eagles. He was arrested by the security there. So clearly a lot of anger from the Eagles fan base at this guy who just last year took him to the Super Bowl. And we even saw Cade Otton getting into it with Jalen Hurts on the sidelines. So A lot of dysfunction in this team. What are your thoughts coming out of this game about the Buccaneers and the game they played and the Eagles here, Winston, overall?
I mean, I think my favorite part, which just goes to show how the Eagles have fully self-destructed,
Yes,
like completely imploded, was the Bucs stopped the tush push.
yes.
I actually think that might be the first time all season.
No, the commander stopped them on the tush push on the one.
You also stopped one?
Yes.
You got to hang your hat on something, don't you, John? Because you didn't win either game against them. Even the Giants got one on them, and you didn't get one on them. God, y'all were sorry.
We tried. That first game, we were close.
Bro. Tyrod Taylor got a goddamn Giants win on the Eagles, man. Come on, man.
We should have known. We should have known.
But I'm saying all that to say, like, the tush push got stopped.
Yeah.
You had Julio got knocked out. That was supposed to be a big upgrade by adding Julio Jones, who is Julio Jones, but he's not Julio Jones. You know what I'm saying? AJ didn't go. Goddard was cussing out Hurts at one point. The Eagles got hit with a fucking safety, like full self-destruction. And I think that's the only part of me. I wanted the Eagles to lose. That is the only part of me that genuinely feels bad for Jason Kelce, because for somebody who's that good of a dude, somebody is that much of a Hall of Famer, you don't want to go out like that. Yeah. I was fine with Tom Brady going out like that because Tom Brady is the GOAT.
Yeah.
He has as many rings as he's had. He's been literally at the prominent, like Jason Kelce has a Super Bowl ring.
Yes.
But like Brady has 7. So I don't care. Brady is fine. So beating the brakes off of him, especially in a situation where we had not beaten Brady his entire career, chef's kiss. But I don't feel that way about Jason. He genuinely is a good dude. And like lose, yes, I'm fine with him losing his last game, but fuck. But yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, he was crying on the sidelines. It was tough to watch because the guy who cares a lot about the game, 13 years, 13 seasons in the game. Apparently him and his brother had a little bit of a thing on the podcast too. So there was stuff there. And certainly a lot of residual feelings about the whole situation, but certainly no one can say anything negative about him as a player and as a person. And it's sad that he went out this way, but it's not his fault. It's all about the dysfunction going on.
I don't know. He fucked up a tush push.
Yeah.
It's equal parts him as it is Jalen, bro.
Fine. Those 2 points wouldn't have won in the game, though. So Nick Sirianni, it's dysfunction from the head coach down. I don't know what Jeffrey Lurie is going to do, but it's tough to make the decision to let go of your coach who led the team to almost winning another division title after he led them to the Super Bowl. As much as dysfunction as there might be at the Eagles, it just seems an odd situation overall. But I'm happy for Baker, who now has 2 playoff wins, which is more playoff wins than the Browns have. And so I'm a big fan, like when he was the quarterback. So I'm a big fan of Baker Mayfield and what he's doing. I hope next game he plays up to that level that he played against these Eagles. I don't expect him to, but I hope it happens, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's move on to our next game here, Winston. We're going to run through these so we get to these predictions and talk about what happened with these coaches leaving. CJ Stroud became the youngest quarterback to win a playoff game here as he led these Houston Texans in the opening game of Wildcard Weekend to a very decisive victory over these Cleveland Browns, led by Joe Flacco. Here, CJ Stroud threw for 274 yards, 3 touchdowns. Singletary had a nice game, 66 yards and a touchdown. Nico Collins, 96 yards. Brevin Jordan, 76 yards. Both of them getting touchdowns. Dalton Schultz getting a touchdown to start things off. 45-14. This was an absolute shellacking. The Joe Flacco that we know and love showed up in the playoffs and showed exactly why people didn't want to go and get Joe Flacco to be their quarterback, because a multi-interception pick 6 game was always on the horizon with this guy, and it showed up at the worst possible time, and the Browns crashed out of this game. Their defense was embarrassed. For all the talk about how Myles Garrett and this defense and blah, 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 fucking CJ Stroud absolutely embarrassed them, and the play calling here was incredible to destroy these Browns, bro. What are your thoughts?
I mean, there are a couple of things. First of all, I really shouldn't be paying attention to the comments. I should be paying attention to what we're talking about specifically. But someone wanted to
Yeah.
Mr. Nerd Fantastic was saying, I was there for Stafford game against Cleveland. He never beat a team above 500. It's hilarious seeing people praise Stafford now when they didn't follow his career until he went to LA. I call bullshit because I will never forget the 2013 game that the Cowboys had where we're out here just beating the shit out of the Lions, and then they start to come back a little bit. And then with only about a minute left on the clock, this motherfucker throws a goddamn bomb and ends up scoring a fucking touchdown at the end with the extra point. I will never forget that shit. So nah. And at that point, they were 5-3 to like we ended up dropping they became 5-3 and we dropped to 4-4. We were 4-3 at the time. So nah, I've seen it happen. I'm not gonna let you treat Stafford like that. Even if you were mad at the motherfucker, I'm not gonna do it. Now back to what we were talking about here.
Yes, go ahead.
So first of all, I love the fact that everybody took Joe Flacco's performance falling apart, going, Joe Flacco with his last game probably as an NFL quarterback out here in these streets as a double agent talking about, interceptions for the Ravens, bitch. I thought that shit was brilliant, and I thought it was fucking hilarious. But I think that was the whole thing with Flacco, is that it was just genuinely watching.
Yeah.
There was the Father Time was going to catch up with him at some point. There was a reason why he wasn't that guy anymore, one way or the other. And I think we both owe a massive apology to Texans fans. 100%. I love Stroud, but seeing that Browns defense, I thought the Browns defense would handle their business. They did not. Like CJ Stroud just went to fucking work 45-14. What the fuck?
I was really surprised at how well he played, how composed he was, because they lost. God damn it, what's the name of the receiver they lost to a season injury?
Nico Collins?
Tank Dell. When they lost Tank Dell, I thought they were toast. I'm like, no, they're not. You're not going to do it with only one receiver out here trying to ball. But damn if he didn't. And it was incredible to watch him work that field, expose that defense. They clearly understood what they were doing against this defense, put it together, and made it all work. I want to give love to offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick. They did an incredible job here, short-circuiting Jim Schwartz's defense there on the other side of the Cleveland Browns. And it was just a masterclass in coaching. You know, when you watch games long enough, it stops being about the scores and it's about the matchups and the, as you said earlier, Winston, the changes you make during the game, the adjustments you make to counter what the other person is doing, so you can stay on top and help your team win. And from the beginning, you can tell the Slowick had Schwartz's number and completely exposed that defense top to bottom. And then the Texans defense really stepped up, getting that pick six, rattling Joe Flacco the whole game, handling their business. It was a complete victory. So shout out to DeMeco Ryans, who may shock the world here as a rookie head coach and take these Texans to an AFC championship game, which would be incredible. And no one, I think, thought that was going to happen outside of Houston. Maybe not even most of the people in Houston. So this is an incredible victory by them, and we'll see what they do next week. But you can no longer doubt CJ Stroud or Jordan Love as we go into these next weekend's games.
My favorite thing by far is I guarantee you that Ray Lewis was in the Flacco's helmet talking about longing, rusted, furnace, daybreak, 17, benign, 9, homecoming, 1, freight car. And all of a sudden he's like, oh, yeah, interception time. Just like out of fucking nowhere, bro. I was literally like, and that's a deep cut for those that get it. If you get it, you get it.
You Marvel fans.
But like, DeMeco Ryans is definitely coach of the year. CJ Stroud is 1,000% rookie of the year. And imagine what the Texans are going to be like when they actually get some legitimate firepower on offense. Because I'm not even trying to shit on the players that are there. They're clearly good enough to have gotten to this spot that they're in right now.
100%.
But imagine a fed up AJ Brown is like, fuck this, I went off the Eagles, and he goes down there. Or imagine the Seattle's in rebuild, they send DK. Or any of the imagine the Bengals are not going to be able to sign all those fucking players. So imagine all of a sudden you like T. Higgins is free. You know what I'm saying? Like, holy shit. when CJ has a true X receiver and you end up drafting a solid running back. Oh my God, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. And D'Amico's a great coach, clearly, to be playing for. So you want to go down there for sure. So shout out to those Texans. All right, let's move on to our last game of the weekend before we take a break here. And that is, how about it, ladies and gentlemen? Bills Mafia. Yeah, Bills Mafia took care of business 31-17 against the Pittsburgh Steelers here. This game had been delayed, of course, but it came to be there on Monday, on MLK Day, and certainly the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, led them to a complete, comprehensive victory over these Steelers. I know that Mike Tomlin was pissed after the game and all that, but I cannot believe that he actually thought he was going to beat this Bills team. It was ridiculous to even consider that, because this team was ready to play. They want to prove something. As Winston said earlier, they've essentially been playing playoff football for about 6 to 7 weeks now. Josh Allen, 203 yards, 3 touchdowns, ran in a fantastic 50-yarder that pretty much broke the game open. James Cook doing a nice job on the ground with 79 yards. Nobody got above 60 yards receiving. They were able to win this game with no receiver getting above 60 yards receiving. On the other side, Mason Rudolph, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. No one got above 40 yards rushing. Pat Freeman with the tight end led all receivers. That was mostly during garbage time. 5 catches for 76 yards. This was a very comprehensive victory here, Winston. It was a little close in the first quarter, but then eventually they just kind of shut the door on him and took care of business. So what do you think about this? And what do you think about that Josh Allen 52-yard touchdown run? What do you come out of this game?
I actually hated that 52-yard run.
Okay, tell me why.
Because, and someone brought up a good point that pissed me off. We have gotten there's a lot of people that like when oh my God, I don't remember what tight end it was that took a knee shot and they tore their ACL.
The Rams tight end. Yeah.
So then, of course, there was a bunch of players again being like, oh, I would rather get hit in the head so I don't die, or I would rather get hit in the head than my legs and ruin my career. And there's not a lot of forethought there, right? Yeah. So part of that going on is they are extra hard on defensive players for hitting the quarterback if there's any situation where they're not really an active target.
Sure.
And so somebody tweeted this out that something needs to be done about this.
Yeah. Here, let me bring it up.
Yeah.
Because I found the tweet that you're talking about. I also saw that tweet as well, Winston. Give it credit to Tony Clements. He's just showing the difference here with both of these situations. Let me turn the sound down.
Like it's just that. It's this idea of that he started to fake slide.
Yeah.
And so that
there.
That to me kind of pisses me off because it's already hard enough. As a defense, see, he's starting to. That's not him changing speed. He's about to go down, and then he goes, never mind. And so my problem with that, like, good on him. He still had to score it, so good on him and all that. I'll give you credit for that. But my problem with that is it's already so fucking hard to play defense.
Yeah.
It's like nearly impossible. It feels very, I don't know, dude. It just feels
unfair. That's what you're trying to say. It feels unjust.
It does.
Defensive players.
It does. And so it's just one of those situations where it's like, it's fine. I mean, anybody can technically do the slide. That's fine.
Sure.
But like the minute he starts to ease up like that, because he is lowering but somebody like that wasn't a slide. Look at him. Like he's starting to lower his body.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
When he stutter steps, that's the slide. Right there is the slide. That's
right.
Absolutely
right. Right. He's about to go into a slide.
Totally.
So that's my only thing.
Yeah.
Other than that,
I don't disagree with you, dude.
But other than that, this is a masterclass game. I expected them to do that. When the Steelers don't have TJ Watt, you're not going to fucking touch Josh Allen. And I think he got sacked twice.
Yeah.
TJ Watt would have accounted for at least another 3 sacks, or like whether he did them himself or forced pressure that. So not having TJ Watt is a massive loss. And on top of that, what quarterback does the Steelers have?
Yeah,
I don't think anyone's expecting the Steelers to win this game, like you said. So I'm glad the Bills handled their business because it's clear that some teams don't want to fucking handle business when they're essentially handed a goddamn victory. So here we are.
Nice Dallas reference there. Yeah, and you can see here this I think. First of all, you can argue. Look, should you be diving at the quarterback? Look, he is clearly in slide mode. Should you be diving at the quarterback? You can make an argument that he kind of brought it on himself.
He was also already in motion at that point.
Right.
He's
but
already
look how he
leaving
keeps
his
his hands above like that. Like he puts his hands out as if to say, I'm not trying to hit him defenseless. I put my hands up. And he didn't. He really hit his shoulder. He didn't hit his head or anything. Now, he knocked his head into the turf. And I think that's where the penalty is. You can clearly see that back into the left. But like, I agree with you. This juking here is, when I initially saw it, I was like, oh, that's a great move. But the thing is, the defender, you're worried that you're going to get a penalty and cost your team more. So that needs to be outlawed in some way. If you're going to also give penalties for hitting like that, you've got to also protect the quarterback by not having them do that fake stuff. You got to protect the defenders and their ability to play the game as well. So yeah,
and maybe it's one of those things where, like, you know, if they start to go into that motion. Like, it's one thing if you're juking to the side. It's even another thing if you hit like a stop step. That is also something different.
Right.
He started to lower his body.
Yeah, exactly.
And so the minute that happens, and that's going to be hard because we're already asking refs that aren't doing a very good job a lot of the times to all of a sudden get that too in real time. Yeah. But if something like that happens, then there almost needs to be, if we're going to protect the quarterbacks, then we need to also then hold them to a similar standard and just be like, all right, fine, you gave yourself up. Yeah, like, you know, you essentially gave yourself up, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly. All right, well, let's take a quick break. We're done with the games. We're going to get into predictions here and talk about some of these firings and what we think is going to happen here. We got about 25 minutes left in the show, so send in your Streamlabs and Super Chats, your Streamlabs here, and we'll answer them in the show at the tail end right after this. I'm going to get good sleep tonight. Hour and a half hot mic, hour and a half game time. I'm exhausted, and I'll be happy to go to bed tonight. All right, let's get into these predictions, Winston. Saturday's games here, led off by the Texans, who we just finished talking about here a little bit ago, taking on the Baltimore Ravens, marching into Baltimore to take on Lamar Jackson and these Ravens. What are your thoughts on this game? What are your predictions for this game?
So let's see. Going up against the Baltimore Ravens, I actually think that the Ravens will handle their business, but I think with the heat that the Texans just got, bro.
Yeah.
I actually think that the Texans are going to make this close. I think it's only going to be a one-score game, and I think that CJ is going to be damn close to getting it done.
Yeah.
But you're just dealing with a hard-nosed Baltimore defense, a John Harbaugh, all of that. That's just gonna be too much for them. So I'll give it a one score. I don't know if I have a score prediction. We'll call it 17-24.
Okay. I have the Texans shocking the world and beating these Ravens, and I'll tell you why. Because if you want to look at teams that choke in the playoffs, you can go look at Lamar Jackson and the Ravens when they've been higher seeds against teams that have the momentum. They don't always show up. Also, Lamar Jackson and these Ravens have a hard time with these bye weeks when they get them or when they take these weeks off before they play games. So for me, I've got a concern in Baltimore about a Texans team with nothing to lose going in to play a team with the MVP and the pressure that can be put on an MVP and the expectations that the entire city of Baltimore has. We saw this happen in Dallas with Green Bay. There's a very real possibility the Ravens claim to not be overlooking these Texans, but think they can handle these Texans. And I got a feeling CJ Stroud is that man. He's not intimidated by anything or any atmosphere. He's one of those once in a generation type talents. And he's going to walk into Baltimore and have all the confidence in the world. It all depends on how that defense is ready to play them. And look, they short-circuited that Cleveland Browns defense. So it is very possible that they will be able to short-circuit this Baltimore Ravens defense. So it'll be interesting that they beat two versions of the Browns 2 weeks in a row because the Ravens used to be the Cleveland Browns before they moved. So, yeah, what are your thoughts?
So the only reason why I push back on that just a little bit because I'm looking really how that Cleveland game kind of got out of control. You have to remember part of what was going on there is you wore that defense out. When Joe Flacco started the process of just intercept, like, you know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden they're back out there again, and they're back out there again, and that's when things got out of control. And like I think that's a little different there. I also you have to throw into the consideration as well. What quarterback did they have? Again, we said that about Joe Flacco,
right.
and I get that Lamar has something to prove in the playoffs because he is not, but he's won a playoff game before.
Yeah, sure.
Totally. He can't do it again. You also have to remember that this is what we used to say about Peyton Manning at one point.
True.
And then at some point, Peyton Manning figured it out.
Yep.
And went to his first Super Bowl and won it, and then had the same issues, then went to the Super Bowl again and lost it, and then same issues, and then finally on his way out won it a second time. So he made it to 3 Super Bowls. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is something to be said that Lamar, now that he's paid, he just got another MVP, and now he's actually learned to be a pocket passer. So you genuinely don't know if he is going to stay there and abuse you from the pocket, or if he's going to use his legs, or if he's going to. And he did it without his 2 star running backs. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, looking at the stats here, Houston, the Ravens won 6 of their past 7 games. And since week 11, they have the highest point margin in the NFL at plus 90. Their defense led the NFL in sacks during the regular season with 60 sacks. So that's a pretty big thing to look at here. So, so it's going to be a tight game. I actually agree with you. There's going to be a tight game, but I just have a weird feeling about these Texans. But who knows? You might be right. Lamar's ready. He's seasoned now, having had these playoff losses, having had expectations on his shoulders, and he's ready to show people that he has kind of gone to that next level, that superstar level to win. But I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
You can only have one Cinderella story, and I don't think it's the Texans. Between the Texans, Packers, Buccaneers, and Lions, only one of these teams can be the darling that we're rooting for. And as good as they are, and they've proven that they're good.
Yeah,
there is not enough firepower and lasting power, in my opinion, for them to get there. I could be eating crow or raven by the time this is all done. But like, I just don't. CJ will get there. I just don't think it's going to happen right now.
All right, fair enough. Packers at 49ers here. You're the Green Bay Packers.
Oh yeah, why is Ben Goddard's name on the screen? What'd you do?
Is Ben up in here? What's up, Ben?
Did he do that?
What's that? Why is Goddard's name on the screen? I don't know. Oh, I hit the wrong. Sorry, guys. I went one above. Oh, sorry, one below. Sorry about that. Thanks, guys. But yeah, let's move on to the next one here. As I said, we've got the Packers marching into San Francisco to take on these 49ers. Jordan Love versus Brock Purdy. Listen, I think this game is a toss-up now. After what I saw against Dallas, I think this game is a massive toss-up now. Purdy could get affected by this defense, but I still think the 49ers win, but I won't be surprised if the Packers win. What are your thoughts?
I still don't think that the Packers defense is very good. I think they did a very good job of scheming for us. And it doesn't mean you can't potentially scheme for Purdy, but you can't scheme for Purdy and McCaffrey.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can take Purdy out of it, because then all of a sudden Debo and Ayuk can't get the ball and Kittle can't get the ball, but you still have McCaffrey to bail you out. Like, we didn't have that. If we at least had prime Zeke, Pollard the way he played last year, if we had Marion the Barbarian, rest in peace, if we had oh my God, what's his name that ended up at the Eagles and then ended up with the Titans, ran him into the ground.
DeMarco Murray.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any of those guys at their peak, this is a different game, and I don't think the Packers have a shot in hell. But when it's now all up to Dak and he's in his fucking head, because they tried to keep feeding it to Pollard, and Pollard got a few touchdowns, but he wasn't like, oh shit, what do we do? You know what I'm saying? And so I don't think the Packers can scheme for that. I don't. And so I think Jordan Love will play as well as he can, but I also think the Niners, you got to remember, they play smash mouth fucking football.
They do.
And that's not necessarily something that the Cowboys always did. We were really good at takeaways.
Right.
That was another problem. You don't get the takeaways, what are you going to do? I think the Niners have this one kind of solidly in the bag. I think Jordan Love plays well, but I think it's a 10-point spread. I think that's exactly what ends up happening. I think this is a 30-20 game.
10-point spread? Yeah, okay. That sounds, that's very possible. It's very possible. I just know a team starts to find its momentum going on the road to Dallas. Remember that New York Giants team that went on the road all the way to defeat those Patriots in the Super Bowl? You never know what can happen. Jordan Love playing with house money. I think it's just great that Jordan Love is making everybody forget that Aaron Rodgers was a Packers quarterback. It's incredible to see how much he's turned it around. And he is now, and the Chicago Bears fan base must put their heads through walls, like going, oh my God, how can he go from Favre to Rodgers? Now this Jordan Love guy.
How many rings they got for it?
What's that? Was it?
How many rings they got for it?
Yeah, well, exactly. Two rings.
That is the fastest way to feel a little bit better about yourself. How many rings they got? How do you have two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time and you have 2 rings to show for yourself?
That's a fair point, but Chicago only has 1.
Even Eli fucking Manning has 2 rings. How do you have 1 per quarterback? That's insane.
Dilfer has a ring. Brad Johnson has a ring. That's a great point. Yeah, Rodgers and Favre are both tied with those guys. It was
bro. Joe Flacco has as many Super Bowl rings as Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers individually.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But you look at the situation, and I think it's going to be a great game and fun game. But I'm telling you, I just have a feeling that these Packers are going to be a lot more friskier than Frisco. And we've seen Purdy get unsettled by strong defenses. We see the Browns did that to them. We saw that 3-game losing streak. So it's going to be interesting to see Purdy with the pressure on him now, the expectations on him now. Last year, he was just like last man up, so shocking, so surprising, playing with house money. Now there's expectations. So it's going to be interesting. And McCaffrey is just starting to practice off of that calf injury. If that calf injury comes back, it's going to be interesting. And look, Mitchell's a great running back, a good running back. So it could be interesting. He'll be fine to sit in. But it could be interesting to see if they find a way to stay on that field longer so that the 49ers have to struggle more in this game. But yeah, we'll see. Let's move on here to the Buccaneers at Lions. Baker Mayfield taking on Jared Goff.
Nick Foles has the same number of rings as Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers.
That he does. Mark Rippon, Joe Theismann, Doug Williams. Put it on the table.
Whoa, CMC is hurt?
Well, I'm saying he's just started practicing after that calf injury, so he's questionable right now in the game.
That's a different conversation.
I agree.
If CMC is limited, not even if he doesn't go, but if he's limited,
yeah.
All right, let's get to this next game.
Yeah, he was a full participant in practice today, so McCaffrey, but that doesn't mean he won't get injured during the game, as we saw in the last game of the season against the Commanders. So Buccaneers at Lions, Baker Mayfield taking on Jared Goff. Who you got?
I think, as sad as it would be for the Lions to fucking win one playoff game and immediately leave, I actually think the Lions have this one, man. I honestly think if they had to go on the road and they had to go play for the 49ers, I think they would have lost. I think this is the ideal matchup. And they even said it themselves. They were cheering with Dallas. They were like, dude, we want a Dallas rematch? Of course. Yeah. But I would much rather have another home playoff game. I think the air's a little too electric. I think Jared Goff with that actual Super Bowl experience is going to be what you need, even though it wasn't a great Super Bowl for him. He knows how to get there. Yeah. I think that there's too much in the air that they will make the NFC Championship game. Who knows if they finish the job, but I think they will win this game.
I think they absolutely win this game. Baker just getting him to this game is already, like icing on the cake. And he's going to get his money for the season and for the next 3 years, maybe as a contract. But yeah, I think this is absolutely tailor-made for the Lions to win this one. Jared Goff doesn't want to stop here. And hey, for all the criticism about him getting shit in the bed at the Super Bowl, he got to a Super Bowl. So he's got that experience of the pressure here. The Lions defense is coming on stronger and stronger. And I think it's going to be a close game, but I think in the end, the Lions are going to pull away 31-17 maybe by the end of the game and take care of business. And I said a few weeks ago that the Detroit Lions were a dark horse to be in the NFC Championship game, and that is still in play. And I have a feeling they could win this game. And if the Packers upset the fucking 49ers, they've got to march into Detroit in a divisional matchup for the NFC Championship game. That is going to be fascinating. And who would bet against Detroit in a matchup like that at home in Detroit?
Not the way that the Lions were. I mean, they did lose to the Packers, remember, in Detroit.
Right, in Detroit. Yes.
So it could happen, but I think the Lions have something was in the water after that loss to us, and it feels like they got real mad. They got big mad, bro. Yeah, but I think the Lions will win this 24-20.
Okay. All right. Now the close one for the Lions.
Yeah.
All right, last game of the weekend. Hard to believe we've gotten down to 4 games, brother. The Kansas City Chiefs visiting the Buffalo Bills. Bills Mafia,
Mahomes
baby.
versus Allen 3.
3. This is like Rocky 3, man.
We don't count regular season. Nobody cares about that shit. It's about what you do in the playoffs. Mahomes versus Allen 3.
Roberto Duran. This is Evander Holyfield, Riddick Bowe. This is Ali versus Frazier. This is Tom Brady versus the Peyton Manning. That's what you got set up here. All right, man. What are your thoughts on this game, Winston?
The Bills are rightfully so the favorites, but by less than a field goal. They only have the home field advantage here, and I think that is correct. I think the Bills will actually win this. I think there's too much at stake. I think there is Josh Allen finally getting properly put into the conversation of being elite. People kept putting him there, but I wouldn't do it because I'm like, too many turnovers, bro. And what have you actually done with it? Like Patrick has done something. Joe Burrow has done something. He made it to the Super Bowl and played extremely well in the Super Bowl. He's just very injury prone. Josh Allen hasn't done anything yet. He hasn't earned an MVP. Yeah. He hasn't. Did they make it to the AFC Championship game? Or no, they lost the divisional round. Yeah, they haven't even made it to the division to the championship game, which is also a big deal. So I think that you're at home now because both times it was in Kansas City.
This is Patrick Mahomes' first ever road playoff game if you don't count the Super Bowl.
There you go. So like you have a situation where you have home field advantage. The Bills Mafia is going to be fucking lit. Yeah. You have a situation where you got to worry about that Chiefs defense. But the nice thing about that Bills hard-hitting defense themselves, the Chiefs' offense is still sus. They showed up this game, and that Rashee Rice is gonna be that guy. He's gonna be that dog. But Travis is dropping open passes in situations where they need him to catch them. Is that gonna still be a thing, or is Valdez Scantling gonna catch a ball? Got one. Will he get more than one? Those are the questions that. The only question mark on the Bills is Josh Allen going to turn it over, which could be a problem. But we've seen Patrick do that this year too. And is there going to be a connect with Stephon Diggs? Because God help you if the Stephon Diggs Josh Allen connection comes back.
Yeah,
because Jesus Christ. Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
And the Bills lost in the AFC Championship in 2021 against the Kansas City Chiefs 38-24. So they did make an
AFC Championship, but they lost.
Josh Allen, but they did not go to a Super Bowl for sure. But it was a pretty comprehensive victory. Of course, as Sean Brennan knows, what did he say? Yeah, I wonder who Rocha is going to pick in the Chiefs-Bills game. I think you know who I'm going to pick. I think the Buffalo Bills have been winning all these games in anticipation of playing the Chiefs. I think mentally they have a picture of Mahomes like in Major League in a dress, and they're taking it off piece by piece, just like in Major League, because they have been waiting to play Patrick Mahomes in these playoffs, and they are absolutely ready. I think they're going to destroy the Chiefs. That's what I think is going to happen here. The pressure, the desire, the want of these Buffalo Bills fans to smash these Chiefs, and the hunger the Bills have after having been embarrassed how many times by these Chiefs to finally get them on home soil in Buffalo. I think the audience is going to be electric. The atmosphere is going to be too much for Kadarius Toney. He's going to drop balls all over the place. Travis is going to be messed up. I don't think anybody's going to come to play but Patrick Mahomes, and it's not going to be enough. And they take care of business. Finally, get over the hump and beat these Chiefs as they need to do. It's as Michael Jordan playing the Pistons and finally beating the Pistons to get to the title. So
this might be the only pull this up that I just brought. This might be the only reason that the Bills do not win, just because of bad karma. This guy, I can't tell if this is his wife or his child, but he's attempting to put his loved one through a Bills table. And
is this his girlfriend? Oh my God! You idiot!
It's his wife or his girlfriend. So I think that is enough bad karma that I can't see the Bills. I might take it back just a little bit and say, ooh, they're probably going to lose in another Patrick Mahomes does wizardry move. Oh shit, bro.
This is how it's supposed to be. To beat the man, you got to beat the man, as the great Ric Flair once said, rival of Dusty Rhodes. The great Ric Flair once said that, and he absolutely is correct. And that's the situation here. The Bills, this is the greatest opportunity they have to finally beat these Chiefs when it matters in the playoffs. And if they don't do it this year, I don't know how any other situation could pop up for them that is so perfectly made for them to do it. They've been on this run. They've been on this streak. Now you've put yourself in a position to beat the man. You got to handle your business. So hopefully they take care of business. But of course, Mahomes in that magic, Andy Reid in that magic. I was watching Nick Wright's analysis today. He's like saying that they've adjusted their play calling over the last few weeks to understand the weapons they have, and that Mahomes is no longer taking chances in the red zone. He's throwing the ball away or throwing it in the dirt, but he's not taking interceptions. He's not throwing it in tight windows because he knows this offense can't live by that way. So maybe they've made the adjustments here. We shall see in this game. It's going to be a fun one to watch for sure. All right. As we're heading in, I know, Winston, you got to go in a few minutes. So your thoughts on the personnel in the hot seat here: Dak Prescott, Mike McCarthy, Dan Quinn, Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, Tua. Tomlin said he's coming back. So what are your thoughts on any of these guys? What do you think is going to happen?
I think McCarthy and Quinn are both going to be gone, which is rough because that's a massive coaching personnel change. I think Sirianni will potentially survive here, and I think Hurts will too. He already got his check, but I do think that you're going to see a situation. There's going to be a massive overhaul in Philly. I wouldn't be surprised if some players that are on free. I don't even know all the Eagles free agents.
A lot of free agents.
Let's see, because there's a lot of free agents for Dallas too, and that scares me too. Free agents. Let's see.
The Bengals as well. A lot of free agents on the Bengals side.
Yeah. So let's see. The Eagles have free agents. Sean Bradley at linebacker, Fletcher Cox, Zach Cunningham, Jack Driscoll, Justin Evans, the safety, Brandon Graham, Julio Jones, Jason Kelsey, who's retiring, Shaq Leonard, Bernard, their punter, Marcus Mariota, it's fine, Nicholas Morrow, their backup tight end, Rashad Penny, DeAndre Swift. There's a lot of dudes on there, and it's not going to be great for them or for us. I think the Cowboys might be even worse. Let me see. Fuck me, man. Okay, let's see. So our players entering into, let's see, Tyron Smith, Tony Pollard, Stephon Gilmore, Jordan Lewis, Dorrance Armstrong, Jaron Kearse, Deontay Fowler Jr., Noah Igbinoghene, Jonathan Hackins, Trent Sieg, Rico Dwaddle, Tyler Biazda. So like multiple offensive linemen. Zach Martin still hasn't gotten paid. He needs to get his fucking money on top of that. Like there is a laundry list, and CeeDee Lamb has more than earned his fucking money, let alone this idea that there was a talk of giving Dak an extension. I think here's what you do. You don't extend Dak. You can play on the rest of your contract, boy. I fuck that shit. Like I don't care.
Nick said $60 million a year, possibly. That's insane.
I don't like the only thing that Dak could potentially do, and this is the only way that he can maybe get some good grace, both with the actual front office as well as the fans. Yes, you just put up an all-pro season. He's second team all-pro, which is very hard to do. Good for him. But you shit the bed in the playoffs the one time when we need you. You've played well in regular seasons all the time. So if you decide to take a hometown discount to make sure CD gets paid, to make sure Zach gets paid, all that, if you take a Brady discount so that we can keep people around, people would be like, all right, I'll fuck with Dak one more time here just because of that. But otherwise, no, bro, you don't get to be the highest paid quarterback in the fucking league. I don't care how well you did up to this point because you didn't finish and you didn't actually get MVP. So
I think that's a great point you bring up. $60 million a year for him. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. No way should they pay that in any way. So they should look at that. Yeah, McCarthy needs to be gone. He's the reason they lost. They don't play for this guy, man. They don't believe in this guy. They don't love this guy. They don't like this guy. No matter what they say in the press, it's not fucking true. You can see it in the body language. They got to go get somebody. I don't know if Belichick is the answer, but Vrabel is out there. Vrabel could be a really interesting coach for the Cowboys. Could put an interesting culture like Dan Campbell did in there in Detroit. He could do the same thing in Dallas.
Why not Belichick, bro? I would love it. And I the only other thing that I saw that was interesting that Joy Taylor brought up is she was saying that the Cowboys have never spent draft capital since Troy Aikman in the first round on a quarterback. And this is a very deep quarterback draft.
True.
So I know you traded for Trey Lance. We'll see if he shapes up at all during the offseason.
Yeah.
If one of those top tier quarterbacks are there when we're down in the mid-20s, why the fuck not? Penix might fall because of the injuries. You know, there's a number of different dudes that are still first round caliber quarterbacks.
Right.
Why not take a shot at it and then also do what you did to Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre? There's a fire under your ass, boy. You don't shape up, your ass can go. You know.
If I was Dak, I'd explore Seattle. I'd explore the possibilities there. That's a tailor-made
maybe
situation.
the Broncos.
Broncos also.
But again, he can't. He's still under contract. He's looking for an extension.
Yeah. He'd have to waive his trade.
He would have to waive it.
But there's a new administration coming in to Washington, so who knows? Possibilities are abound. All right, so we'll see. And do you want to hit the Mahomes thing or hit the Streamlabs?
Yeah. Let's do. We can do both. I can be a little late. It's okay.
Okay.
So the question here was essentially, you know, you had Patrick Mahomes' helmet explode on a big hit. And so a lot of people were then asking the question, should they have even played in this game in the first place because of how goddamn cold it was? Because the only reason it exploded is because it became more fragile due to the temperatures.
Yes.
So that head-to-head contact is what did it. So one, I think it was nonsense that Patrick Mahomes was not then in the concussion protocol.
Yes.
You took a head-to-head shot where your helmet exploded.
Yeah.
He should have been in the concussion protocol. I don't this nonsense of people being like, oh, they should have been charged a timeout to change your helmet. Dude, a man's helmet exploded.
Yeah.
Fuck off. They don't need to call a timeout for that. The refs, for safety purposes, said fine. No. Yeah. That's nonsense. But I do think he should have been taken off the field, not because he needed to change equipment, but because clearly you need to be in the concussion protocol after that. That's insane.
I agree. 100%. Yeah.
No, so should they have played? I don't necessarily think they should have. I think as fun as it is, and people could say, oh, what an experience and all that, to know that like one of the previous like freezer bowls with Ice Bowl, 20 players had frostbite, to know that like you had to go through such fucking crazy levels to go get those heaters on and all that, for people to go huddle off to the side and shit. The fact that like you even had a situation with the Bills game where they were just like, fuck, man, tickets are $40. If you can find a place to sit, you can come in. Like that. All of this is situations where I'm like, you want to have a little bit of that. You want to have some of the cold weather stuff to be like, have a little bit of an advantage. Fine. But there is a point at which this is just reckless now.
It's a crashing of cultures. It's the old school football mentality that playing football in the snow is just tradition as anything you have in the NFL. And there's other people who are like, no, we got to protect these players. People want to see good games with everybody in an equal playing field. So get domes for these outside stadiums for situations like this. I'm stuck in the middle because I love watching football in the snow, but I also know that like it does give an advantage to certain teams in certain situations like that, much more than the regular competitive advantage you might get in these playoffs. And so I do think it's something that needs to be remedied at some point in some way, man, because it ruins the quality of the games as well. That Chiefs Dolphins game was a fucking snorer, man. And it was because of the cold air and all the things going on there. They should have never played the game. The Bills Steelers game was much more competitive. They definitely cleaned the field, cleaned the stadium. It was a much better game because of that. They should have done that. They should have postponed the Kansas City game one more day or 2 more days, put it on MLK, have a triple header on MLK. That would have worked. But, you know, in the end, they played the way they played, and it was a boring game and things were affected. So, yeah. But, yeah, I agree with you. The guy's helmet shattered. That is not a situation where like, you better take a timeout. That's could have hurt the guy legitimately. That's not a, you know.
It's also, so for anybody, like I saw that Haskell was like, I don't agree with you. The concussion protocol, he didn't show any signs of it. Well, first of all, you don't always show signs when you have a concussion.
True.
And second of all, again, that was a hit hard enough in cold weather to shatter a helmet.
It was helmet to helmet too. It wasn't like from the side.
It was a helmet to helmet shattering. So that by itself, because yes, the part of the story that we pulled up to talk about this was the manufacturer being like, that is the actual purpose and that is the intention of the helmet. But the minute the one thing that is keeping you safe, like if you got into a situation with a car accident, the airbags deployed, you don't then go, all right, well, just get back in that car and start driving. You have to go get the motherfucker checked out. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. If you need to get pulled just to make sure, because we haven't seen a helmet shatter. We haven't seen that.
40 years, I don't recall seeing anything like that. 40 years of watching football, I've never seen anything like that in the NFL. So I've seen everything else shatter. Never seen a helmet shatter like that. All right. So, did you have any issue with the having to be behind a paywall, having that game behind a paywall on Peacock? I mean, I have Peacock.
I have Peacock. That may sound cocky or elitist or some shit, but I have to for work. So it's a little different. But also when you consider it was a free trial, everybody gets a free trial. Worst case scenario, it's $5 for the month, and they were doing this for games prior to the playoffs. If you want to do that, if you do this all year next year for like Sunday Night Football, then you can go fuck yourself. But like this was a 1 month trial type situation to try to drum up some business. It's not a paywall. It's not a paywall when a free trial exists. That's what's stupid. That's the one thing people keep forgetting. Peacock has a free week trial. It might even be a free month. So I'm sorry. No, you get over yourself. The only thing that was funny. Exactly. It's fine. I'll give it to you if you about the $5, but because there is a free option for people that haven't gotten it before, I make up an email. You could literally make up an email and get a new free trial.
It's a Starbucks coffee. And I know you motherfuckers bought one Starbucks coffee in a month. So that's the thing at the end. It's $5. It's $5. It's not that big of a deal. I don't know why people are going crazy about it. It'd be different if you were tied down to a year and you had to stay a year for Peacock. That's a whole other ballgame. Prime Video had Thursday night games all season.
I think it's because it's a marquee matchup. I think it's because it was the marquee. That's the problem. The Dolphins Chiefs games was a huge one, and I'll give you. But again, you could have gotten it for free if you signed up for a free trial. So that's the part where you can kind of throw that out the window. The only thing that's really funny about that is to wait this long to tell people, because then you ended up with a situation where too many old heads were like, "How the fuck I get the Peacock on the TV?" I don't even know how to do this. Those memes were hilarious. Like people have the dads calling their kids, "How do I get the Peacock? I'm trying to watch Patrick Mahomes." Like that shit was fucking funny.
Who wants to watch Patrick Mahomes? Anyway, let's move on to these Streamlabs here. Sean Brennan, we should give you love. You did send that one in. Love you guys. Look forward to this every week with the rumors of Dallas and Philly possibly firing their head coaches as well. What opening do you think is the best? And do you think there's a team that could turn it around quickly like the Texans did this year? The Seattle, we just mentioned Seattle situation, the Denver situation, those could absolutely turn around overnight with the right quarterback in those positions. For sure. The Philly situation isn't necessarily over, and neither is Dallas. Dallas is a wealth of talent. You just need a better head coach there. That's absolutely the truth. Keep Dak. Don't pay him what he wants, but keep Dak. You can absolutely run it back with that whole talented squad. Just get a better head coach in that situation. Anything you want to chime in on this one?
I need my defense to be consistent. I need for adjustments to be made, and I do think you need to replace the coach. I think McCarthy's got to go. I think he did a lot of great things. He does a good job. I will give him credit. He is good at developing quarterbacks.
Sure.
You developed Aaron. Yeah. You developed Jordan Love. Yeah. Like only for a half second. Because did he already leave by the time Love got there?
No. I think Jordan was there as a backup when he was still there, McCarthy.
So you know what I'm saying? Like you had a situation where he's good at developing quarterbacks, but that's not enough. Because again, how many actual Super Bowls did Mike McCarthy win with arguably, you can make the argument, a Mount Rushmore talent level quarterback?
Right.
One. Exactly. You made it to one, and you won one, and even that one was goddamn close because the Steelers were handling their business. It just took Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers to actually finish that job, you know? So like, I just think there's a situation here where like McCarthy's got to go. And I would love to see a Belichick, but part of what's going to have to happen, remember, McCarthy came in because Packer people were warning us as is. Jerry Jones keeps hiring people that he feels like he can control and manipulate. A Belichick's not going to roll over for him.
Nope. That's why a lot of people.
Neither would a Harbaugh.
Yep. Yeah, right. Neither will Harbaugh. A lot of the pundits are already saying, like, if Jerry Jones wants to win, he's got to let go of control. And if he can't do it, like Dan Snyder, if he can't do it, they're never going to win.
Right. And I honestly think that you have this situation now where supposedly his ego was gone after putting Jimmy in the ring. Finally, if you put that blood feud to rest, if you really mean it, go hire somebody who you will give the legitimate control. And you can even say this. You could have in the clause, I get to have final say on the first round draft pick because I'm the one selling the tickets and all that as far as the business. But you can have rest of GM control because I need you to go and win me a goddamn Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
You want to do that in that contract? A lot of these hard-nosed coaches like a Bill Belichick that would want GM control would be okay with that.
Yeah. Good point. I'm Two Fly Cam says pretenders are revealed. LOL. Winston, your team is the greatest punchline in pro sports. Every year, the same old Cowboys. Seahawks have a Super Bowl in the last 28 years. How about you? Go Lions. Wow.
And what happened to you in that second Super Bowl?
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. You threw an interception on the goal line. Jorge Iniestra says, can y'all believe that Detroit or the Baker-led Bucs will be in the conference finals? This is a God's dream. This is everything. This reflects in the year of this season. I hope it's Lamar's year as a Pats fan. Daniels to New England, please. Chase Daniels to interesting. Okay. I don't know if I see that. I don't know if I'd be down with that. Daniels to New England.
Chase Daniels. Where do I know Chase Daniels?
Yeah, I mean, that would be an interesting situation if that actually came to be.
Why do I know Chase Daniels?
I don't know. We'll see. Jaden Daniels. Talk about the LSU quarterback, the Patriots.
Oh, got it.
That's what he's looking at. Sorry, I said Chase Daniels. Sorry, I meant Jaden Daniels.
Got it. Okay.
Because I was like, that, Ranger. Yeah.
I was just confused. I was like, you mean the backup quarterback, Chase Daniels?
Yeah, no.
Like, who I believe is retired? Guys,
I'm at the end of a 3-hour run here.
I know you are, dude.
But yes, I think it's great that it's going to be the Baker or the Lions in the NFC Championship game. That's going to be so interesting to see. So it's going to be a lot of fun. All right. Well, there you go. That's all our Streamlabs. That's all the stuff we're going to talk about today. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. And thank you to Winston for taking time off. I know you're skipping out on something for a few minutes here to hang out with us for just a little bit longer. Please let Winston and let people know where they can find you, brother.
Yep. You can find me at the Swaggy Blurred on all the platforms. You see it right below me down there. Please go over to TikTok, Instagram. I'm trying to get those numbers up in general on the YouTube as well, man. Please. It would mean the world to me if you don't already follow me on all those to go over and throw me a subscribe, a follow, all that good stuff. Things are going slowly but surely, and I should have the altered version of the TikTok up in just a second here. I did it before we started, but I didn't have time to post it. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with the Breakfast AM News stuff, so please definitely show some love.
Definitely show
some love. Capes and Cows.
Yeah, Capes and Cows, which is coming up later on this week. All right, for me, follow me at The Roca Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, The Outlaw Nation on Twitch. But y'all know more than anything else, please subscribe to the channel down below, the sports channel. This is where all the sports content lives. Please subscribe. We had 85 of you watching us live, so we appreciate y'all hanging out with us on this impromptu episode of Game Time here at night. It means the world to me. Please hit a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, leave comments down below as well. And look for other content on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/John Roca Says. All the movie content, entertainment content lives there. We had had a new episode of The Hot Mic go up, so go and take a look at that as well. All right, y'all take care of yourselves. Be well, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode of Game Time next week. Peace.